teams went to Salinas Valley State Prison. And this is a prison near Soledad, California. And if you're ever in that part of California, that's a part of the state where the winds can be pretty fierce as they come whipping down from the mountains across the valley there. They can be pretty fierce. And as I was going to the prison, going from one unit to another, visiting inmates, I was crossing a yard there. And as I crossed the yard, I came across a young man in his underwear in a cage that was about this high and about that wide around, just sitting there. And so I stopped to talk to him. And I found out that he was enjoying his recreation. This was his recreation time. That for whatever reason, because they, whatever their protocols were, the only way this young man could get outside and have some recreation was by sitting out in this cage in his underwear. And so we had a conversation with the California Department of Corrections, with the people there, and saying, what is this? Could they not even give the man a blanket or a jacket or something? But again, this was recreation for him. I went to Pelican State Prison, which is in Northern California, and Pelican State Prison is a prison that has been in the news quite a bit. They've done stories on it because of riots that have taken place there, because of their security housing unit and some of the policies that the California Department of Corrections has. The security housing unit, or the SHU, is where they keep inmates who are kept confined by themselves in a small cell 23 hours of the day. For 1 hour, they are able to go into this little yard that's totally concrete, and all they can see is the sky if they're lucky, but nothing else. They go by themselves for an hour. They never have any kind of human contact. They never interact with anyone else. And they're there because they have been identified for many times for belonging to gangs, prison gangs. And it's not a matter of behavior. It's not because they've done anything, but because somebody has said, and who has said, we don't know. Maybe it's the tattoos they have, They are identified as belonging to prison gangs, so they are put in the SHU. And at times, they are placed in the SHU for indeterminate sentences. And so I went to see an inmate there named Steve Castillo because they had started a hunger strike. The prisoners themselves saying that this was inhumane. This was inhumane. And they started a hunger strike trying to have the CDC, first of all, follow their own regulations, but look at possibilities of changing this. That it be based on behavior, that they be given sentences for a certain period of time, and not these kinds of indeterminate sentences. In my conversation with Steve, I asked him, how do you remain sane in this place? And his response to me is, I don't know if I am. I have nobody to relate to and to engage with to even know how I am. Tehachapi State Prison is just north of us here in the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. Tehachapi State Prison, apart from everything else of all the other myriad problems that the prison has, it houses 140 plus youth, minors, in this adult prison system. And the reality is that we're having more and more of our young people who are now being incarcerated as prisoners, where the law has changed, where 14-year-olds can be tried as adults and incarcerated in adult institutions. And a sad commentary on our society when we give up on our children. And yet, this is a reality. Women's prisons, they have a host of their own particular problems and concerns. And one of the concerns obviously would be the whole question of sexual harassment and how women are treated many times. I mean, for women not even to be able to take showers without having some of the male guards there watching them, and you talk about human dignity and human rights. And then we have a whole other problem in our prison system, and that are the INS detainees, the immigrants who are detained in prisons. Sometimes they are even detained in prisons with convicted felons or in local jails where conditions are deplorable. And again, you know, we look at this. And these are a few stories. I could go on with a number of experiences and stories. But I'd like to give you some statistics for our prisons here in the state of California. We have, at least in the beginning of this year, we had 157,142 adults in prison. They say that we have more in prison than we have in higher education. That's that commentary. We have another 120,597 on probation at the beginning of this year. We have 24,597 serving life terms. And 2,807 serving life terms without the possibility of parole. Although the reality under our present governor, you know, he had a no parole policy. Even those that were termed to lifers, who had served their term, who had been model prisoners, who had structures and support on the outside for them, he would not release them, even though the probation, the review panel recommended that they be released. And so, you know, again, these men and these women are there. We have over 600 men and women on our death rows. By the year 2004, they estimate that we will have about 177,200 prisoners, adult prisoners in the state of California. And it costs $26,894 per person per year to house them in our system. We also have 7,545 youth that are incarcerated and 4,300 on probation. And it costs $41,700 per youth per year to incarcerate them. 94% of our prisoners are men. 34.8% are Latinos, 30.6% are African American, and our recidivism rate is 70%. 70%. Now, in our nation, just one statistic is that in 1972, we had 250,000 inmates. Now, in the year 2000, we have 2 million inmates in the United States. So what are the long-term consequences of something like this, huh? Well, one is, you know, we have 1.5 million children under the age of 18 who have a parent in prison. Of these, 22%